Welcome to Are You Chemistry GCSE Ready? This playlist takes you through loads of example questions and guided solutions for every single topic in your chemistry GCSE. So it's a perfect way for you to test your chemistry knowledge. If you feel like you need a quick review or you just want the ideal revision companion for these videos, then make sure to download my free chemistry GCSE revision notes. I've linked them in the description below. Or if you're ready, let's dive straight in. Okay, let's do some questions on equilibria. So, what is a reversible reaction and what is dynamic equilibrium? Well, firstly, a reversible reaction is just a reaction that goes both ways. You can get the products from the reactants and then you can use those products to get the reactants back. And what is dynamic equilibrium? Well, that's when the forwards and backwards rate of reaction are equal to each other. So forwards being from the reactants to the products and backwards being from the products back to the reactants. When the rate of those two reactions are equal to each other, or in other words, the concentrations, therefore, of the reactants and the products don't change. Now, just be a little bit careful. That doesn't mean that there's an equal amount of the products and the reactants. It's just that that ratio between them is not changing in a dynamic equilibrium. And what do we need to get dynamic equilibrium? Well, firstly, we need a reversible reaction where we have these products and these reactants, and then we need it in a closed system. So that is a system where nothing can escape. Okay, how does changing conditions affect the position of equilibrium? So the first idea is equilibrium always moves to oppose whatever change you have put in place. Okay, let's have a little look at what that means, thinking about three different conditions. So the first one is going to be the amount or concentration of a substance going up. Okay, so let's say, for example, here we've got A plus B. Those are going to be our reactants, and they give us C plus E, and the reverse, our products. So what happens if I add more of A, my reactant here? So I change the condition by changing the amount of one of these substances. Well, if I add more of A, what that tells me is the equilibrium is going to move to oppose the change. In other words, we are going to try and take some A away by changing my equilibrium position. So I added loads to A. Now I would like to take it away by changing the equilibrium position. And what that's going to do then is shift my equilibrium position towards the right or towards the products, towards C and E here to kind of restore that balance. Okay, there we go. Equilibrium shifts away from that substance. Next one here, let's think a little bit about temperature. So again, my reactants, my A and B, and then my products on the right, my C and E. And let's say that going from A and B to C and E is an exothermic reaction. So remember, that means that it gives out heat, that reaction. And going between C and E towards A and B is an endothermic reaction, so it takes in heat. And let's say we increase the temperature that this reaction is happening in. Well, in order to oppose that change, what I would need my reaction to now start doing would be to take in more heat so that I can restore that temperature. And if it's going to try and start taking in more heat, then basically what that means is I'm favoring this endothermic reaction, and that means that I'm going to shift towards, well, in this case, towards the left here, which is towards my products, sorry, making more of these products A and B. Okay, and finally here, let's imagine that I change the pressure, and I change the pressure so that it increases. And what is going to happen to my equilibrium is in order to oppose that change, what I need is it's going to shift towards the side where I'm making fewer moles of gas. Okay, so in order to lower it again, it's going to go this time towards C and E, right? Because on the left-hand side, I've got 4 moles, I've got 3A of gas and 1B of gas, whereas on the right-hand side, I've only got 2 moles, 1C and 1E. So what we're going to do to restore the pressures, it's going to start making more of this C and E, and therefore it's going to have shifted towards the right here. Remember that if you add a catalyst, that changes the rate of attainment, but it does not, increases it, but it does not change where the equilibrium position is. So now we've got these reversible reactions, and let's think about the reactions that we actually have going on in industry and what we need to bear in mind when we're considering what kind of conditions we would like to set, because we can change the temperature, we can change the concentrations, and we can change the pressure. So first thing to bear in mind is that you would like to maximize the yield. So you want to shift the position of equilibrium towards the products, towards the thing that you are going to try and make. You also want to maximize and balance that with the rate of attainment. That is how quickly this reaction is happening. And with work you've done on previous topics, you get a higher rate of attainment with higher temperatures and higher pressures. You also need to think about minimizing the cost, which requires minimizing really the temperature and pressure, because those are hard conditions to upkeep and you need a lot of energy and a lot of materials in order to keep them up. And your reactants need to be readily available. So whatever you're trying to react, you need to be able to get hold of it quite easily. Those two bits there are always relevant, maximizing the rate of attainment and minimizing the cost. The other two are kind of bonus things. If you just think of it in terms of the Haber process as well, there's a question in the worksheet for those of you who have to cover the Haber process, and it's a really good idea to kind of run through all of these conditions for that. Finally, some fertilizers. Which elements do plants need to live? Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And so therefore, what makes a good fertilizer? Well, I want to contain large amounts of those elements above by mass. And also, if it's soluble, that's really good, because then it can be put into the soil and the roots can take that fertilizer up easier.
Just before we go into the tips and tricks section, if you do want some extra advice to getting that grade 9 for your GCSE, then why not download my free 20-minute exam success guide? Just click on the link in the description below. I'm going to give away all of my best advice and secrets, and completely for free, so why not?
Okay, tips and tricks. First one, don't get your enthalpy changes confused. A negative change in enthalpy means that your reaction actually releases heat and is therefore exothermic. When predicting a change in equilibrium due to a change in pressure, you only need to look for any gases, okay? So you need to look at the state symbols and see if any of them are solids, they're not going to count towards which one has more moles of gas and which one has less moles of gas. Make sure you know whether the Haber process is exothermic or endothermic if you're planning on explaining the temperature conditions. So yeah, you need to know that in your Haber process, in order for you to get the ammonium out, then that is an exothermic reaction. And therefore, in order for that to be happening or prioritized, what you would want is you would want your equilibrium to shift towards the right. And you would do that by actually decreasing the temperature so that your equilibrium tried to reverse that change, shifted towards this exothermic reaction, and therefore increase the temperature. But you do have to balance that with the cost of having your high temperatures, but also the rate of attainment as well.